Kegels and when to use them, when not to use them, and how you can make them work better for you. So first of all, if you're not sure what a Kegel is, it's a pelvic floor muscle contraction. So it's a contraction of the vagina and anus muscles. Now, for a lot of women who are prescribed Kegels, maybe by their doctor or their pelvic floor physiotherapist, prescribed Kegels because they help with strengthening the pelvic floor. Now, for a lot of women who need that pelvic floor strength, they're not given a lot of guidance on how to reduce or take a step back from those Kegels so that they can start trusting their own bodies. For many of those women, they find that their symptoms never improve. So this is where they start to feel broken. It's like, I don't have, it's like, I've been doing these Kegels for 3 years and I'm taking time out of my day, got this fun little app to use, and I'm seeing no difference. I'm broken. I can't do much of anything right now. For these women, and I've been here myself, we're just told to do more Kegels. That's the magic solution. And it's like, okay, well, if the Kegels alone aren't working, then does this mean I'm broken for life? No. What that may mean is that you may need to be backing off those Kegels and seeing how things go there. Remember how I told you that a Kegel is a pelvic floor muscle contraction? For a lot of people, they don't know how to relax their pelvic floor, and their pelvic floor, or your pelvic floor, needs to do both. It needs to relax and contract. And when it can't relax, then it can't support those pelvic organs the way that they need to. And that might be why you're experiencing those symptoms. So always the first thing if I suggest is if you've been doing Kegels for quite some time, not finding any relief, then it may be a good time to try not doing so many Kegels to see how that feels. Now, again, Kegels are great. They are great for, building that strength, as I mentioned. They're great for building awareness to your pelvic floor. A lot of us don't have that awareness. Because we've never really been taught what those muscles are outside of having sex or having a baby. So when we run into these problems, it's like, well, I'm a woman and I've had a baby, so this is shit that I've just got to deal with. Well, that's just not the case. Now, how I use Kegels with my clients is a little bit different than what, might have been prescribed to you in the past. So generally speaking, if you are somebody that needs to build strength, for example, what I'll do is I'll incorporate some pelvic floor muscle exercises, so some Kegels into some exercises. Now, this is going to look different for everybody, but let's say we're starting off with a body weight squat. So start with a body weight squat, we add in a Kegel, see how that goes. We might add in a bit of load, see how that goes. But we don't want to be using that Kegel on an ongoing basis because we want your body, the goal is to have your body, have you trust it, have you trust your body, have your pelvic floor work automatically. So we want to back off of those Kegels. We might give it a few weeks. We might give it 4 to 6 weeks, depending on where you're starting from. It generally does take about 4 to 6 weeks, for the pelvic floor muscles to adapt. And remember, it's just like any other muscle in your body. But we want you to be able to trust your body again. And if you're continuously thinking about doing Kegels, doing them after the shower, getting your fancy app ready, then we've got to step away from that. We've got to remove you from that fear that if you don't do your Kegels, things are going to fall out. Nothing's going to fall out. So we want to relax your pelvic floor as well. So if you're finding that you've been doing these Kegels, you're not noticing a difference, then try just not doing them for a few days and seeing how that feels. Now, obviously, we want you to consult with your doctor, your pelvic floor physiotherapist, because they're the ones that are working with you one-on-one. This is just kind of generalized guidance, things that I've noticed with my own clients over the years. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. Now, when I prescribe Kegels, like I said, it's usually because that person, it has been determined that that person needs to build strength in the pelvic floor. So if this is you, then yes, Kegels can be a great thing. We want it to be a temporary thing as your pelvic floor adapts and can adapt to that impact. So other times that I'll use Kegels is when we're increasing the load on the bar. Or on the dumbbell, kettlebell, whatever you're doing to lift something heavy. I'll add in a pelvic floor muscle contraction or a Kegel there. That's going to give the pelvic floor and your core really a little bit more support. So it's going to be able to provide a little bit more support to your pelvic organs. Now, this might need to, you might need to play around with this. So if you have specific questions, please let me know, because again, this is kind of this isn't kind of, it is individual depending on where you're starting from. But when we increase load, I'll encourage my clients to add in a Kegel. That's going to help with core engagement as well. It's going to recruit the TVA, the multifidus, the pelvic floor, and the diaphragm, and it's going to be able to contain that intra-abdominal pressure a little bit better. This will help you to minimize leaks and feel that pressure type feeling as well if you've got pelvic organ prolapse. So I will use Kegels or reintroduce them as needed if we're increasing load. Not with running, you don't need to Kegel when you run. And the Valsalva. If I'm working with someone, or if you're working towards training your 1 rep max, maybe you're in CrossFit, you're a power lifter, Olympic lifter, you just like to lift heavy things for fun, or you've got heavy kids, whatever. Don't hold your breath when you pick up your kids. Maybe they're just really big kids. You're trying to lift your 18-year-old or something. I don't know. But if you're training towards your 1 rep max, I will also suggest adding in a Kegel for that as well. And especially if you're using a weightlifting belt. So again, that's going to help with the pressure management. It's going to engage your deep core. It's going to provide you with a lot more stability and support than pushing downward onto the pelvic floor muscles will do. So if you're wondering if you're ready to move on from Kegels, get back into the high impact exercise. Now, I do have a free 5-day core training challenge that will help you with this. So it's going to help you incorporate the Kegel, but it's also going to show you when to back off of the Kegel and how to troubleshoot the symptoms before adding in that Kegel. But it's going to help train your body to navigate the impact of movement, starting with your core and then working your way up, because we want a strong, stable core of the body so it can help everything else out. It's called Stronger to the Core, and if you want a copy, just head to the link in my profile and download it. It'll be fun. You're not going to want to miss out on that. So take care. Have a great day. Any questions, just pop them below. I'm happy to help.